Hi, seventh grade. We are going to take a look at some of the rest of most of the rest of the unit material today. Your science test is scheduled for Friday. I would highly encourage you to be writing out the Cornell notes so you have all the information in one location, especially where some of this was digital and some of it was in-person information. A lot of this last piece we've kind of looked at and touched on when we were looking in the atmosphere unit. So we're going to kind of zip through this a little bit. We talked about greenhouse gases. Greenhouse gases are gases that trap heat and radiate it back towards Earth. So we have methane, water vapor, carbon dioxide, take on that sun's energy and then emit it back at the Earth. So we have the sun's energy currently coming in and that energy from the cloud, from the greenhouse gases re-radiating it. It is a process that is natural, that has always happened on our planet as long as we have had our current atmosphere. Our planet would be too cold to live without it. Other planets that don't have atmospheres like Mercury will go from negative hundreds of degrees overnight to positive hundreds of degrees during the day. And there's no way you can sustain life like that. The thing is that the more fossil fuels we burn, the more carbon dioxide is in the atmosphere. We can't really control methane output because that's formed when things decompose. We do try to collect it, especially from like landfills and such. So we try to minimize that, but a lot of that is a natural process out of our control. We can't control how much water vapor is in the atmosphere. That's beyond our control. But we can reduce how much fossil fuels are used and how many fossil fuels are put back in the atmosphere. Essentially, the big moral is if we can do something, we should probably try and help. So there's a connection between the carbon dioxide and global temperature. So I'm going to show, give me a second here. I'm here, but a different tab. Here we go. So this is page 269 in your book, but I wanted to show you. So this is a graph showing us the amount of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, and this is our global temperature. And you notice they both are kind of trending upward. The thing is it's not necessarily, yes, there's a correlation, but that doesn't imply necessarily causation. So could there be other factors? Absolutely. But if you could do something to help, shouldn't we? The other thing I wanted to kind of point out, which is kind of neat, we talked about how if there's dust and such in the atmosphere, it'll change the global temperature. Like when the asteroid hit and took out the dinosaurs, that launched so much particulates up in the atmosphere, shaded the planet, killed off all the plant, well, not all, but a lot of the plants, which killed off all the animals, a lot of the animals, the dinosaurs. Another way that that'll happen is if we have a volcanic eruption. And so our book talks about Mount Pinatubo erupting in 1991, and that changed the global temperature. And the scale's not perfect, but if here's 1990, you can see that global dip. But the mean, that 5-year mean, it kind of averages that weird anomaly out. Hold on, we're going to come back to this page in a minute. But first, wait, there's more. Let's go back here. Another issue that we have with climate change, again, the constant with climate is that it is changing. One thing that we needed to keep an eye on is deforestation, because if our trees take in carbon dioxide and put out oxygen, they are a source or a way that carbon dioxide can be taken out of the atmosphere. And if we take away the trees, they're no longer doing that for us. So that's not good. The other thing too with deforestation is it causes a lot of landslides and flooding because they're no longer there holding the hillside together, not letting the water soak into the ground, and there are a lot of other issues that come out of deforestation. Global warming is kind of the effect of that additional greenhouse gases. Essentially the fact that our temperatures have risen, and you saw that graph over the past few years. The issues is the more heat there is, heat is energy. So if there's more heat in the system, we're going to have more energy for storms. So we're going to have more severe weather, more stronger storms, could have droughts. If the glaciers melt, that'll raise sea levels. Organisms would have to move to different latitudes because it may be too hot where they're currently at. And it could cause extinctions. But this is really, it's kind of a depressing lesson, sorry. But there is a list of things that we can do. And that's what I'm going to have you look at is I want you to read in your book, page 272 to 275, I think, maybe it's 273 to 75. But you are going to make a public service announcement poster kind of highlighting some things that everybody can do to try and help minimize these effects. So if you have any questions, let me know. Your test will be on Friday. Have a good one.